Good afternoon, everyone. Class of 2022, parents, family, friends, and other distinguished guests, I would like to welcome you to final exercises weekend. My name is Emma Sisk, and it is truly an immense pleasure and honor to stand before you today. Graduation weekend is a time spent together, celebrating impressive accomplishments, reminiscing on experiences, and marking the end of a beautiful chapter. In honor of this weekend, I'm first going to rewind us back 4 years to the start of our first year. In August 2018, we all sat on the lawn for convocation. I remember it clearly, a hot summer afternoon where we all gathered as a class for the first time, listened to members of the university speak, and attempted to sing the good old song. When I think back to convocation, there are two prominent values that stuck with me. First, the weight of experience, and second, the importance of creating connection. The first lesson involves the nickel and small piece of cardstock we received at the ceremony. The Jefferson nickel serves as a reminder to always give back, while the poem on the cardstock reminds us as students to always live and learn with honor. That afternoon, the nickel and cardstock felt light as a feather, with no real weight behind them. Graduates, I invite you to reflect on your time spent at the university and ask yourself if the nickel and parchment would still feel as light. Personally, those items feel much heavier in my hand because they are marked by trials, celebrations, relationships, and lessons I've experienced along the way. During the convocation ceremony, President Ryan taught us the second lesson: how to build bridges. And no, not literally, although I'm sure many of the engineering school students were on the edge of their seats, but how to build bridges as connections with peers, classmates, communities, and ourselves. While writing this introduction, I reflected on ways that our class has built bridges. Let me share a few of them with you. We built bridges with our roommates, hallmates, suite mates, and classmates first year. We built bridges by choosing our majors and joining various clubs our second year. We built bridges by honoring and thanking the nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, and scientists that guided us through a global pandemic our third year. We built bridges as we celebrated being back in person and brighter than ever at Lighting Up the Lawn our fourth year. There are countless other examples I could mention of how we've built bridges, but in sum, I believe our class took this advice to heart. As President Ryan said, and I quote, "The next time we all get together as a group will be 4 years from now, on the other side of the lawn for graduation. All of you, all of us, will be different people then, shaped by the choices we make over the next few years." Class of 2022, as we graduate and move all over the world, there is no better time to build a new bridge. And when the real world feels just a little too scary, there will always be a bridge back to Charlottesville, a place we can all call home. To kick off Valediction and the rest of graduation weekend, I urge you to remember the weight of your experiences and the countless connections you've built during your time at UVA. And to quote the faint poem printed on the small piece of cardstock, remembering the purple shadows of the lawn, the majesty of the colonnades, and the dream of your youth, you may say in reverence and thankfulness, "I have worn the honors of honor. I graduated from Virginia." This weekend, our class will be together on the lawn for the first time since convocation, wearing the honors of honor and celebrating the end of our journey as undergraduate students. What a wonderful time indeed. Congratulations, class of 2022. I cannot wait to see what bridges we all build. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Each year, the Algernon Sidney Sullivan Award Committee selects 2 student recipients from the graduating class who best exemplify the highest qualities of character, humility, and unselfish service. The committee also selects an individual from the university community whose compassion, service, and influence are widely acknowledged and appreciated. All of the recipients of this award are wonderful people, but they are distinctly defined by their acts in support of others. Their deeds are not spent on their self-interests, but rather in the interest of community. They represent our highest ideals and our greatest hopes. Please hold your applause as I read a few words about each of our winners. Ya Aosi Sarkodie. A quiet and shy exterior hides a formidable leader who uses her core strength and perseverance to serve those around her. Ya has been a leader with the Office of African American Affairs Peer Advisor Program, resident staff, and a trainer for the women's basketball team, to name only a few of her many involvements. All of these pursuits share a focus on uplifting and supporting others, and they are practiced with passion, humility, and a genuine desire to contribute to the lives of others so they can be their best selves. Ya has grown into her leadership roles, supporting the peer advisors and the women's basketball programs through major transitions this year, and doing so with her usual mix of compassion, resilience, and calm intensity. A humble servant to her friends and to her patients, it is no surprise that Ya will take her desire to uplift others into the field of nursing, where she will continue to be a light of care and hope for so many. Dominique Bailey. Dom Bailey has amassed an impressive legacy of scholarship and service to the university and the surrounding community, but you'll never hear that from him. A leader both in and outside the classroom, he has co-authored a section of a book with a faculty member and served as a teaching team leader in the Baton School. He has also served this community through resident staff, the He has also served this community. He has also served this community through resident staff, the OAAA Peer Advisor Program, and as one of the creators and moderators of the Bridge program, bringing race into dialogue with group engagement, where he is known as a gifted listener and facilitator. At the center of these involvements is Dom's desire to create opportunities for learning and growth while building bridges of care and understanding across communities. Dom is able to stay focused and positive even during the most difficult conversations and shares of himself to make others feel seen and supported. As one of his faculty members said of Dom, Dominique leaves his mark in the places he has been and leaves them better. Michael Gerard Mason. No one who has had the pleasure of meeting Dean Mason will be at all surprised that he is receiving this award. Maybe no one but Michael Gerard Mason himself. A servant leader of the highest order, Michael is known among students and his colleagues as a tireless advocate for all students with whom he comes into contact, particularly those in the Black community. As an Associate Dean and Director of the Luther P. Jackson Black Cultural Center, Dean Mason spends countless hours supporting individual students and student organizations. With a counselor's ear, he continues to see patients in counseling and psychological services in addition to his day job. Dean Mason listens to students and works to empower them to solve their problems. From academic struggles to organizational issues, he is always there to provide guidance, encouragement, and make connections to people and resources that get the job done. His work is often confidential and behind the scenes, but his impact on the lives of students and the university community are felt by many. Please join me in congratulating Ya Alosi Sakodier, Dominique Bailey, and Dean Michael Gerard Mason, this year's recipients of the Algernon Sidney Sullivan Award. Yeah, can you please come up?
Good afternoon. My name is Samuel Madawala, and I have the honor of presenting this year's Seven Society Awards. The Louis A. Honesty Award is given each year to a scholar athlete who, during their time at the university, dedicated themselves not only to the betterment of themselves and their team, but to the well-being and empowerment of communities across grounds. This year, it is the Seven Society's honor to recognize Ms. Mila Ciprian, an individual who has shown unparalleled devotion to the University of Virginia's athletic department, as well as the numerous spaces and communities of which she has been part of over the past 4 years. During her time at the university, Ms. Ciprian played on the women's volleyball team, serving as a teammate, warm-hearted friend, and dedicated leader. Ms. Ciprian steeps herself deeply in integrity, extending immense care for the well-being of her teammates, and often speaking up for them and their needs as women in athletics. Advocates like Ms. Ciprian are vital to the well-being and progress of sports community at UVA, and her contributions will undoubtedly be seen and felt for years to come. In words of her esteemed coach, Ms. Shannon Wells, Mila has huge aspirations about impacting the world around us. She has never met a student athlete able to juggle the amplitude of tasks she takes on. She is one of the most impressive young women she has ever met, and every coach would feel honored to have an athlete like Mila in their career. However, Ms. Ciprian's dedication for others moves far beyond the athletic arena. Ms. Ciprian has taken fundamental steps to bridge the gaps between student athletes and the general student body by spearheading initiatives and programming through her other involvements. As president of BOSS Support Group, she has facilitated several social events open to the athletic and general UVA Black community to facilitate dialogue between groups while also creating a space for fun and friendship. Ms. Ciprian also fervently serves as an executive member of the UVA Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which she strives to build solidarity among different sports groups on grounds. Additionally, Ms. Ciprian served as a model for the organization of African Students' Africa Day Cultural Showcase several times during her UVA career, and also functioned as an integral and critical voice in her Global Development Studies major in the School of Arts and Science. The Seventh Society strongly believes that Ms. Ciprian is the most deserving of this esteemed award and applauds Ms. Ciprian for her generous spirit. We wish her well as she pursues her future endeavors and remain confident that she will positively impact all who may have the fortune of crossing her path. It is my honor to recognize Ms. Mila Ciprian as the 2022 recipient of the Lewis A. Honesty Award. Since its founding, HEAL, History of Enslaved African American Laborers, has been a pioneer in educating the university community on the invaluable contributions of enslaved peoples, humanizing labor's histories, and helping foster a climate that centers transformative anti-racism work across grounds. Through their tireless efforts, HEAL bridges the expanses of time, perspective, and memory to forge connections across the university and to impress upon the larger community the necessity of contending with our past. With a foundation rooted in integrity and profound commitment to the distribution of knowledge and truth, HEAL's impact on the future of this university is one that will be felt for many years to come. For well over a century, the university refused to acknowledge how its legacy is entrenched in the vestiges of slavery, forced displacement, and unequal treatment. Reconciling generational harm and building bridges towards a brighter, more equitable future is no minuscule order. HEAL has navigated this environment as students and storytellers with immense grace. The members of HEAL recognize the urgency of bringing these stories of resistance to light. Their work illuminates the narratives of the enslaved peoples whose hands, labor, and lives shaped every element of our present landscape. As part of their mission of building community, HEAL has collaborated with organizations such as Bridge, the University Guide Service, and Housing and Residence Life to create the programming to educate all first-year students on the university's history of slavery, white supremacy, and student activism. Understanding how challenging these histories can be to process in isolation, they facilitated fruitful dialogues about the university's past and motivated students to earnestly reflect upon their positioning within UVA's legacy. This work of constructing honest, inclusive narratives has far-reaching impacts that are a vital step towards uniting the community and properly atoning for our role in maintaining racism and violent oppression. It is only through this reckoning, with open minds and fierce hearts, that we can truly transform our future into a world bound together not by power asymmetries, but a powerful recognition for every individual's inherent humanity and entitlement to equal protection, love, and freedom. HEAL is a role model for many organizations that are to come, and there is no better organization that embodies the university's mission of creating genuine, constituous citizen leaders. The Seventh Society commends HEAL for their confidence in pushing the boundaries to change the status quo. It is a tremendous honor and to recognize their efforts and present them as the 2022 recipients of the James Earl Sargent Award.
Every year, the trustees of the graduating class honors 3 students who have contributed greatly to their fellow classmates. The Trustees Awards this year abridge 3 categories: community service, cultural fluency, and this year, the spirit of the Wahoo. Since its introduction nearly 30 years ago, the Trustees Community Service Award sees to it that the individual who has never tired to serve the UVA community is properly recognized. This year, the class of 2022 trustees are more than honored to distinguish Devin Gardner as the recipient of this award. Criteria is merely the minimum for excellence here at UVA, and Devin has selflessly embodied this belief during his time on grounds. It may be easy for one to believe that balancing a course load of computer engineering and English, as well as being a full-time member of Club Swim, would be enough to fulfill themselves here at UVA. However, Devin has shown time and time again that his passion for helping others is truly what defined him during his 4 years here. However, to simply call Devin a volunteer would be an incredibly harsh understatement, for UVA can be, and is, an intimidating place, and those who Devin has helped will testify that they would not be where they are today at UVA without him. A first-year engineer would not have chosen UVA if it were not for Devin's easing presence as a guide during his first tour of the E-School. Future students and faculty would not have been familiarized with UVA's computing machinery if it weren't for Devin's weekly guidance, and 2 adults with Asperger's syndrome would never have tapped into their passion for coding if it weren't for Devin's skillful tutoring sessions. Devin is also a sound example of servant leadership here at UVA. A member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Honor Society remarked to me that, as president, Devin single-handedly transformed our budding chapter into an organization that truly makes an impact on UVA and beyond. Aside from planning the regular events for members, Devin has also reached out to local high schools and put together various workshops to share his passion for engineering with young people right here in Charlottesville. Such leadership is also reflected in his energy towards Best Buddies Autism Support Group, where he spends a vast majority of his time with those of the neurodivergent community and acts as the recruitment director for the organization. For Devin, his relentless pursuit to empower his community and create everlasting opportunities for those who are disadvantaged are things that truly fulfill him. A friend of his mentioned to me that he still keeps in touch with disabled children he taught to swim in high school, and he still brought this same passion and kind-hearted energy with him to all of his involvements here at UVA. Please, join me in recognizing Mr. Devin Gardner. Established in 1996, the Trustees Cultural Fluency Award recognizes a graduating student who has demonstrated an understanding of and appreciation for cultural and intellectual diversity during their time at the university. This year, we would like to recognize Ms. Elizabeth Aramayo. Elizabeth's work on grounds demonstrates a strong understanding and appreciation of the cultural diversity that exists here at the university. Throughout the past 4 years, she has served as the Executive Director and Social Outreach Chair of the Latinx Leadership Institute, Director of Alumni Engagement for the Baton Latinx Network, Social Chair for the Cultural Organization for Latin Americans, and a mentor for students of Hispanic and Latinx origin. Elizabeth works tirelessly in furthering how the university embraces and empowers its multicultural students. A colleague emphasized, even as a 4th-year student, her willingness to learn specifically about how fellow multicultural student leadership programs are functioning is heartwarming and serves as a reminder that the process of cultural fluency is a never-ending one. Elizabeth's work serving as Executive Director of the Latinx Leadership Institute, or LLI for short, best exemplifies her commitment to supporting the cultural, social, academic, and professional development of multicultural students at the university. Elizabeth helped develop weekly sessions for the organization's 30-person cohort. For LLI's finally weekly session, Elizabeth spearheaded a joint event that featured the cohorts and facilitators of LLI, the Muslim Institute for Leadership and Empowerment, and the Asian Pacific American Leadership Training Institute, all collaborating with the Multicultural Student Center, promoting the interconnectedness of the Latinx, Muslim, Asian, Pacific Islander, and Desi communities. Additionally, Elizabeth has dedicated a significant amount of her academic time and effort towards collecting oral narratives from Bolivian immigrants around her community in Northern Virginia to uplift marginalized voices and help situate Bolivian Americans within the larger United States Latinx community. Elizabeth's work on grounds and throughout the Charlottesville community is a testament to her advocacy and strength, furthering dialogue about the rich cultural diversity right here at UVA. Please join me in recognizing Miss Elizabeth Aramayo. Created by the Class of 2022 Trustees, the Spirit of the Wahoo Award honors a graduating student who during their time at the university has been a fervent and compassionate leader inside and outside of the classroom, fostering resilience, encouragement, and inspiration for their community. This year, we would like to recognize Emily Moore. A humble leader and devoted to making the communities she is part of welcoming and inclusive, Emily Moore is characterized by compassion, empathy, and selflessness. She's a true light in the classroom, in the lab, and in the Charlottesville community. Emily approaches situations with a people-first ethic. She's a fierce advocate and ally for neurodivergent people and those with other disabilities. As a student, she commits to centering and elevating the perspectives of autistic people. Emily is driven by her selfless passion for equity and inclusion. She started off as a research assistant for the Jazzwall Lab and eventually worked her way up to lab manager. As lab manager, Emily led the effort to transform a research assistant application process with a focus on making it accessible to historically excluded students. She's worked to remove every possible instance of bias from the research assistant application and interview process to give each applicant an equal opportunity. Emily often works additional hours as lab manager, but expects no compensation in return. Her work to address inequity and discrimination on grounds inspires many. Throughout her time in Charlottesville, she has advocated for disabled students in the Charlottesville League who otherwise would have been denied the opportunity to participate or were not treated fairly as a result of their disability. Emily will continue advocating for others as she studies to obtain a master's degree in speech-language pathology. In the future, she plans to serve an underserved subset of autistic individuals, namely those who do not use spoken language to communicate. Emily's benevolence, both in personal relationships and her involvements, undoubtedly shows her dedication to create a welcoming space for the people she encounters. Her passion and principled leadership embody the spirit of this very award. Please join me in recognizing Miss Emily Moore. Congratulations once again to the award winners, and congratulations to us, the graduating class of 2022.
Good afternoon. Welcome and congratulations to the class of 2022. It is wonderful to see so many UVA families, alums, and friends of the university on such a special weekend. I'm here today to recognize Teresa Carroll for the Gordon F. Rainey Award on behalf of the Society of the Purple Shadows. Mrs. Carroll, the Society of the Purple Shadows seeks to recognize those exceptional individuals who serve our shared community without thought of recognition or reward. In this spirit, the Society is proud to present the 2022 Gordon F. Rainey Jr. Award for Vigilance to the Student Experience to Teresa J. Carroll. In your 22 years of service to the university, Mrs. Carroll, you have served with constancy of character and unconditionality of love. As Senior Assistant Dean for Academic and Student Services at the School of Nursing, you have seamlessly managed a broad portfolio of responsibilities essential to student flourishing across admissions, financial services, and student life. Your fierce fidelity to excellence enlivens all aspects of the student experience. While your commitment to the fundamental work of administration is laudable in itself, the most indelible impacts of your contributions emerge from your day-to-day interactions with the community that surrounds you. Your guidance and companionship is universally sought out by students, faculty, and staff with the assurance they will be seen, valued, and affirmed. In moments of great hardship, you are the first to stand by a student's side. When first-generation low-income students reached out for greater support, you responded without delay to establish a coalition for solidarity and empowerment. Through times of triumph and times of turmoil, you generously offer a voice of encouragement or a shoulder upon which to lean. Few would deny that by working to develop the future of nursing, you have already engaged in service to the highest order. Yet, as Leo Buscaglia once said, and I quote, "Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring." End quote. Through your daily actions and interactions, you have positively brightened this community, imbuing it with infectious optimism and effervescent energy. The Society encourages you to continue to uplift those around you with your illuminating smile. Continue to offer students a listening ear. Continue to care ceaselessly for all that are graced by your spirit. For you, Mrs. Carroll, are the one the university is proud to call her own. The Society of the Purple Shadows.
Good afternoon. My name is Jane Pethokoukis,
And I am Jonathan Laredo.
and we are the co-chairs of the 2022 Class Giving Campaign.
We want to begin by recognizing the individuals who helped make our campaign this year so successful. To our committee, Callie Smith, Brown Simmons, Morgan Kemp, Zach Steele, Joshua Franklin, Caitlin Kreinheater, and Lauren Cochran. We are beyond grateful to have had you on our team this year, and we thank you for your creativity and dedication to our class.
To our advisors, Mary Elizabeth Luzar and Catalina Wilkins, this campaign would not have been possible without your support, and we greatly appreciate your involvement in helping us to accomplish our goals.
This year, Jane and I continued the tradition of creating a theme for our class gift campaign. We chose the slogan, "Let's all join hands and give," for dear old UVA, a slightly altered version of the end of the good old song. On the surface, This saying reminds us of some of our fondest memories of football and basketball games that we've shared with our closest friends.
However, the decision to use these cherished words goes beyond this. To us, these words signify the importance of coming together. When we all come together, we are able to accomplish more than we ever could on our own. For the class gift, this means that a gift of any size is a meaningful one. The true value of each gift is its ability to bring the members of our class together.
The annual class gift allows students to give directly back to any scholarship, school, department, volunteer organization, performance group, club sports team, CIO, or anywhere in between. This affords us the opportunity to reflect on the areas of the university that have defined our time here and enables us to enhance them for future generations of students to come. Each donation is a symbol of the change that we want to see in the university and a step towards achieving that change.
We are pleased to announce that this year, more than 45% of the class of 2022 participated in class giving. These 1,793 students donated to over 275 different allocations across grounds. On behalf of the university, we are grateful for your generosity. Thank you for your dedication to leaving UVA as a better place than when we arrived. Here's to continuing to build a vibrant and empowered community. President Jim Ryan, on behalf of the class of 2022, we are honored to present this check for $87,497. Congratulations, class of 22.
We have one more.
No, we're good.
Thank you, Ms. Pethakoussis and Mr. Laredo, the trustees of the class of 2022, and for the entire class of 2022. You may not know this, but the class gift, the tradition of giving a class gift began in 1983, and that's when the fourth year class trustees began. And I think it's probably one of the only things that was both cool in 1983 and is still cool today. And one of the things that is coolest about this is, as you just heard, those who give can direct their gifts to the organizations that they care most about. And there were a huge number of organizations supported this year. Let me just cite some of them. There are a number of schools and departments across grounds: the University Library, Madison House, OAAA, the Women's Center, the Fralin Museum, the Cavalier Marching Band, hundreds of student organizations, sorority and fraternity foundations, Virginia Athletics, and Access UVA, which will allow UVA to open its doors even wider for students to come. The gift is a result, as you also heard, of the generosity of many. More than 1,700 participated. All of you who are students here have benefited from the generosity of those who have preceded you. And paying it forward is a way to ensure that students in the future will have the same sort of opportunities and experiences that all you have had. And just so you know, there is still time to give, and there will always be time to give back. Let me just end by saying thanks again. I look forward to seeing all of you on the lawn this weekend. Please try to stay cool, hydrate, make some noise, and soak it all in. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to all of you for being with us today, to the wonderful people on this stage with me for sharing their wisdom and their well wishes with us, to my peers for awarding me the privilege of being your vice president for the last 2 years, and to my family down here in the front row. It's an honor to be here, and it's one that I do not take lightly. Before I make my remarks, I want to remind you all about the class party tonight from 9 until midnight at Alumni Hall. Friends, parents, family members are all welcome to attend. This is our last chance to gather and celebrate as an entire class before we walk the lawn tomorrow and on Sunday. And I encourage you all to soak up these final moments and to celebrate with us all and to take advantage of free things while you can. So, in the blink of an eye, we've gone from teenagers with little to no idea of what we're doing to college graduates with direction and with purpose. We didn't get here without the work of countless individuals at our university and in the Charlottesville community who have shaped our 4 years here. On behalf of all of us in the class of 2022, I'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to those who have supported, guided, and impacted us on our journeys to this point. To our university transit drivers who ensure we get to class on time and home safe, to the volunteers and workers who staffed our saliva testing clinics, to the healthcare workers at UVA Hospital who pushed us through the pandemic, to the enslaved laborers who built this institution from the ground up, to the professors who broadened our ways of thinking and showed us what's possible with our education, to the custodians and keepers of our beautiful grounds, to the people who prepare and serve our food every day, always greeting us with a smile and a hug, to the clerical workers and construction workers who keep our institution running smoothly and constantly work to improve it, to our administrators and to President Ryan for ensuring that our 4th year was as close to normal as possible, to the community organizers and student leaders who put in countless hours each week, pushing our community to be the best it can be. Thank you. The gratitude we feel for these individuals is too often unspoken. So here and now, I encourage you all to reflect on the individuals who have shaped your university experience. Let them know you appreciate them. They could be the roommate you haven't talked to since first year. They could be the professor that altered your worldview with a phenomenal lecture. They could be the barista who made the drink that kept you going all day long. They could be the people sitting next to you right now. None of us would be here today without the families and friends who root for us constantly from home and the families we've chosen for ourselves here on grounds. In many ways, thank you feels far too simple to show our appreciation for these individuals. But I'm going to say it one last time anyways. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to thank my peers, my friends, the class of 2022. If you would have told me 4 years ago that I'd be up on this stage addressing you now, I would have smiled and assumed you must not know me very well. But I am the person I am today because of you. We are who we are because of each other and because of the experiences we've gained access to at this university. We are the sums of our experiences, and yet we are more than our experiences. We are experiencers. One of my favorite writers, Howard Thurman, said, "I am what I am at any particular moment by standing on the shoulders of an infinite series of yesterdays. A man cannot be quite separated from his yesterdays." I've always had a feeling that they make these ceremonies so fancy and special to distract us from the fact that what we are truly doing here today is saying goodbye. But I, like Howard Thurman, don't believe we can ever truly be separated from our yesterdays, not by time or distance or anything else. Still, goodbyes are hard, and it's okay if your farewell to this place is a whisper. We're all wrapped up in an infinite web of connection, appreciation, and mutual friendship that stretches, not fractures, when tested. This place will always be your home, not because of the things you learned in the classroom and the time you spent in the library, but because of the individuals you encountered in those spaces and those sitting next to you now, whose lives have touched you and been touched by you. You've shaped this university as much as it has shaped you. Remember this place for its beautiful grounds and for its beautiful people who have made your journey here possible. Instead of thinking of goodbye, think of how we are ending these 4 years where we began them. A little scared, very uncertain, but together as a class. Let that fact ground you, let it comfort you, and let it remind you that change is a signal of growth, and that if you were not ready to say goodbye and to plunge fearlessly into the next chapter of your life, you wouldn't be sitting here today. So if you haven't heard it yet, let me be the first to say, you're ready. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2022.
Class of 2022, friends, families, faculty, and staff. My name is Chesley Strickler, and today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our valedictory exercises speaker, a University of Virginia alum, basketball legend, NBA Hall of Famer,
entrepreneur, and philanthropist, Mr. Ralph Sampson. Many of you know that Mr. Sampson is a native of Virginia. He attended Harrisonburg High School, where he was the #1 basketball prospect in the country and was pursued by the nation's top programs. At UVA, Mr. Sampson had incredible athletic abilities and dominated the court. At the end of his time here, he had become a 3-time ACC and Naismith Player of the Year and led UVA to the Final Four. After all, University Hall was always better known as Ralph's house. He was a world-class athlete who initiated change on and off the court. Mr. Sampson pushed this university to be better, altering the lives of students who couldn't envision themselves here until they saw him advocating, living on the lawn, and changing the name of the game on and off the court. This transformation only grew as he was a first-round draft pick for the Houston Rockets. Mr. Sampson's NBA debut was incredible. He was unstoppable, becoming a 5-time NBA All-Star and MVP of the 1985 All-Star Game. Later, he played for the Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings, and Washington Bullets before retiring in 1992 and later being inducted into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, and the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Mr. Sampson's talents extend far beyond the basketball court as he uses those talents to give back. He's driven to help young athletes achieve success mentally, physically, and financially, and has worked to bridge the gap between Charlottesville and UVA, continuing to give back to this community, transforming his mark as a UVA legend into a legacy. He strives to connect the students and athletes with the community that supports them, recently opening the new Ralph Sampson's American Tap Room and serving on the board for Cavalier Futures. As teammates have said in the past, he never lost sight of his roots, and he always took steps to create a better and brighter tomorrow. Throughout his life, Mr. Sampson has used his talents to create positive change for the future with his unwanted spotlight. He continues transforming his love and passion for the betterment of the community into attainable and realistic solutions. Mr. Sampson stands as a role model whose successes we aspire to achieve with the same amount of integrity, dignity, and heart. It is truly my honor and pleasure to introduce a Virginia legend as our keynote speaker. I present to you one of the greatest Wahoos ever, Mr. Ralph Sampson.
I already told him this mic thing won't work, but thanks for the introduction. The crew up here was kind of nervous to get up here, and all you guys did a great job, so congratulations on your opportunity to speak. I'm going to point out a few people before I get started. One was your mom, because she came up to me up in the reception area and said, her mom was mad at her because of a plane flight somewhere when she was 10 years old, whatever, and she had to go to the bathroom, and I was sitting up, I guess, a couple rows up, but because she had to go to the bathroom, her mom didn't get to meet me. But she met me tonight, so she did her job. She did her job, right? She did her job, so good job. Right. And then I had a button. She laughing, right? That's a UVA diehard person right there. She's in orange and blue with her chain got blue in it, and she had a little button up in the other ear. I was gonna wear it, but I put it somewhere in the bag. But she has this green and red and purple hair with this wig on, but she's probably the biggest UVA fan I've seen in a long time. So congratulations on your award as well, and all your other award recipients. Congratulations on just being at University of Virginia and receiving any kind of award here, because it's going to be special to you down the road. You don't know that yet, but it's going to be special to you. Wahoo wah. Wahoo wah. Wahoo wah. Now, most people around the country don't know what that means, right? But we do. So that's kind of what we do. But when I told my parents that I had the honor of speaking to you guys today, they said, I have arrived. You know, I came to the school and I graduated in 1983, which started the 1983 check to the school with a degree in rhetoric and mass communications, which doesn't exist anymore. But my mom and dad said, you have arrived because I get to come to graduation and speak, and my mom knows, I speak okay around her sometimes, but she takes the cake. So anyway, thanks to President Ryan. I mean, who has a president that comes up, gets a check, runs off the stage, runs miles every day still, I think, right? And whatever. So when he came here, I had a chance to meet him, but what a president. So I commend you on what you do. Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, families and friends, and most of all, the class of 2022. Give yourself a hand. And I also want to thank the class of 22 for you guys letting me speak. I didn't know it was going to be like this. I thought it would be a small group of people, maybe somewhere, whatever, but when they came and did it, so I appreciate you guys having me. To the parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, sisters, family members, all you guys here, I mean, you guys did it, right? You guys should be commended, and applause for you guys as well for sending your kid to this school and supporting them through this 4 years. It's been a hard 4 years to get here due to a pandemic and all that, but you made it, and thanks for your hard work. So parents, family, congrats as well. Now, I don't want to stir up any confusion, so a couple things happened. So we got a couple classes of arts and science, right? And that may be here. School of Engineering, McIntyre School of Commerce, School of Architecture, Baton School, School of Nursing, and lady over there, and School of Education. Obviously that's changed over the years with no communications major, but that's okay. I had the chance to do it here with some great people, and I had fun doing it. But all the schools here, when you look at them, are really, really good. And we'll excuse the nursing because in the last 2 years, nursing and all that, you guys have done an amazing job. So I won't even get into that because we'll get into another subject. But I know you all are excited, right, to get to this day, to this weekend. And you might be a little tired as well. You may have stayed up all night trying to make sure your credits were straight and everything was together before you get up and get this piece of paper that you're going to hang on your wall somewhere, or your parents going to hang on the wall at the house. Or some of you may have stayed up a little bit too late last night and went to the white spot on the corner and had a Gus burger, right? Because you wanted to, she's pointing her hand though, she's good. But all of you showed up and you worked hard to get here. So I congratulate you for your hard work to get here. And you may have played, young lady who played sports, had 5 concussions. But you got here and you still stand. So I'm gonna give her, I met her at an event at a football program, and I'm gonna just stand up again because 5 concussions, volleyball player. Her sister's beside her, but she's really the coach, right? So that's good, other volleyball team. But anyway, people like that show you the fiber of University of Virginia, right? And she's going off to do great things as well. 5 concussions, playing volleyball, still here, graduating, and off to great things. So her mom and dad and parents also, so good job, you guys. I always talk about, when I speak about UVA, the UVA grind. There's nothing like the UVA grind. It strengthened everybody's purpose and ambition, which we are part of. All of us are University of Virginia alumni. There are some alumni up here maybe, there's some alumni up here. My beautiful girlfriend, Montina Anderson, is alumni here too. She'll say it, but she's a little bit younger than me, so it's good. But we have this fire, we have this thing about UVA that makes us UVA, right? First year, second year, third year, fourth year, the lawn, all that makes us a part of this whole prestigious school. And there's this spirit of achievement. So when I look back in 1918, when Thomas Jefferson created school, it was about experiment. Public university designated in advance of human knowledge, educating leaders and cultivation information. Most of that, what he said back then, stands today, not only on grounds, but around the world. And I'm biased, obviously. I don't think there's any other university that can compete with University of Virginia in anything we do. So I take very good pride in that, and what I think about the university as well. So, as she just said, I opened a restaurant, which I never thought I would do. and I'll tell you why I did that. But opened a restaurant, and last night when we were there, I told them I was going to call them out. There was like a table full of guys, and there was like 15 of them. They said they live in one house. So I was like, how do you 15 guys live in one house? Are you guys here somewhere? I know they said, I told them I would call them out. I see some hands come up. But they were there having dinner, and I'm like, how was your experience at UVA? Most of them said, we had a ball. Okay, great. So it became one of those things that I had passion for to get this thing done. So when I knew I was going to speak, we actually went to the lawn and walked around, and I got a chance to speak to a couple kids there. And I wanted to know what was their experience at UVA, and what will they miss, and what will they enjoy. And for me, when I go back, and I'll kind of come back to that in a second, was they said it wasn't about the classes, it wasn't about, the lifestyle, it's about the UVA experience. Walking on the lawn, going to classes with your teammates or roommates, the dining hall. When I was here, just to tell you how old I am, there was something called the tree house that doesn't exist anymore, right? And Tuttle dorm that doesn't exist anymore. She knows what I'm talking about, she's been here as well. So those experiences were large because it wasn't just about the experience of one thing. It was about the total UVA experience. So I told her, I said, what are you going to do to make sure that you experience what you want to achieve here at UVA? What else do you need to do? And then one lady said, I want to jump in a little pond by the rotunda. And I would just go in there and just jump in that pond and run through. I said, okay, well, you can try that and see what happens, but we'll make that work. So they became kind of the thing that I called the UVA grind and UVA experience as well. And the other one I did early in this year, I lived on a lawn in room number 6. And it was my senior year, and I wanted to win a national title. I came back to school my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year, and I stayed because I was on track to graduate, and I won. I played in a great conference, had an amazing coach in Coach Terry Holland, and I loved the school. So all those things added up, but this young man that I'm speaking about, I won't say his name, but I knocked on number 6, and I do that every number of years, and he came and he opened the door up, and I talked to him about his experience at UVA. Ironically, he's from Houston, which I played, and he said he wanted to make a change when he got to UVA, and he didn't dream about being on the lawn, but he made it to the lawn, and he's making a change in UVA today. So I know you out here. I saw you earlier, so thank you for having room number 6. And we texted the other day because in the lawn room, there's this little safe hole under the ground there that you can pick up and leave something there. So I left a picture of myself in 1983 that's still there, and everybody that stayed there have done the same thing. So we finally got it open, and I'm sure he will leave something in there as well. So good job, and people like that obviously is going to do great things when they leave here and go to the next level. Now, when I look back, that's what I'm going to get into the UVA. So I came from Harrisonburg High School, small town in Harrisonburg over the mountain. And as like I said, I got recruited pretty heavily. And Coach Terry Holland would say that his car was programmed to go to Harrisonburg every day. Coach Craig Lopez, the previous athletic director, he was at every game. Miss Holland was put at every other game because she was there as well, Coach Holland's wife. But I got recruited pretty heavily. I came here on my official visit in April 13th of 1979. My mother's birthday, right? Ironically, I'm gonna go forward a little bit. We won the national title up here, if you can, it's not there. And I had these same shoes on, the national title game. I only wore them twice, and the day the second time. Okay? We had the parade or the party, or whatever you want to call it, Scott Stadium on April 13th. That same day that I had my official visit at UVA 40 years later. So it tells you how things happen for a reason. And obviously, I think we got the greatest basketball coach in the world here with Tony Bennett. So, and then I never came in here without a basketball coordinator, so it's totally different for me as well. But anyway, that takes me back. So my freshman year, I had fun. I stayed in Tuttle, like I said. I came here, and another reason I came here was, I announced in a high school arena in Harrisonburg, and we had about 2,000 people in the stands. And me and my high school coach were there, my mom and dad were there, and it's one of the first speeches I had to ever give, and I was nervous because I didn't really know where I wanted to go. I came into the arena, I told my mom, I said, I don't know where I want to go yet, I'm still not decided. She said, you can make that decision today because we're tired of going through this mess. So we did that. So we called Coach Holland and said we're coming here. It was Kentucky, North Carolina, Virginia Tech after that. And left through the jail with outside of the arena, knocking on doors. What John Lucas said, Ralph, don't go to Virginia, don't go to Virginia. So there's a lady in here that went to Maryland. That's why I didn't go to Maryland, because I wanted to come to Virginia, but we beat Maryland at my last game at University Hall on the last second shot. I missed 2 free throws. I got the rebound and somebody tipped it back out there and made a last second shot to win the game. But highly recruited then, came here in 1979. When I announced that I was going to UVA, a guy named I was in the car driving, a guy named Howard Cosell on the radio said, why is Ralph Sampson going to UVA? He's not academic enough to go to UVA to graduate. So one of those was my motivating factors, right? The great Howard Cosell, you young kids don't know who he is, but he always imitated Muhammad Ali or whatever. He was a sports commentator like you see today. But that motivated me to also get my degree. You got somebody like him saying, I'm an African-American guy. They don't have a lot of African-American kids on their basketball team, but this, that, and other, and he can't graduate from there. It's an Ivy League school. I'm like, okay, great. So I got a chance to see him after the fact, and after I graduated, and I just smiled and said, I did graduate, so it was good. It was good. But also you have to understand, during graduating, my freshman year, a guy named Brett Arback came to my parents' house with $1 million in a briefcase and put on my parents' dining room table and said, you can come play for the mighty Boston Celtics and leave school. Now, I was 199 pounds soaking wet at the end of my first, although we won the NIT, which is somewhere up in this building, but I'm still not strong enough to play against grown men at that point in time. So I made a decision to come back to school. Now, think about this, all you basketball fans. Some guy here said, what do you think? He had the audacity to come to me earlier and say, what do you think about the Celtics? My competitor said, you know what, the Celtics, So Kevin McHale would not have gone to the Celtics if I'd have came out of school. You got to make sure, he wouldn't have gone there. The second year coming out, we go to the NCAA National Championship. We get there, we get beat by North Carolina. It was the last year of the semifinal game when Reagan got shot. So we played LSU. Now, the only saving grace of that, which is a good friend of mine today, is a guy named Al Wood, had 36 points that game, and he still had the most ever scored in the NCAA Final Four. And we're good friends today. He's a minister down in North Carolina, and I go see him every now and then and speak with kids over the summers. But that was one of the banners up here in this arena, but I had a chance to come out again that year. Now, I'm pretty good now. I'm National Player of the Year, and I get 20 pounds on me heavier. We go to the national Final Four, and maybe I'm ready. I go back and ask my mom, and I said, Mom, or do we need anything? She said, now, we worked this long, we ain't got to worry about what you get. We'll continue to work. So they didn't need any money, and they made me decide on my own. So I drove down and watched some of the games. It was Philadelphia against Boston, and they played the Lakers at that point in time. And I made a decision because, one, I was having fun. Two, my parents were secure. Three, I was on track to graduate, and I loved my teammates. And I thought we could get back and do it again. So I stayed in school because I still had that Howard Cosell motivation in me, right? And I was going to get there one way. So I had to do that my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Now, one of those years, Kevin McHale wouldn't have gone to the Celtics. James Worthy wouldn't have gone to the Lakers, and Isaiah Thomas wouldn't have gone to the Detroit Pistons. So I never brag about it, but when I see them, I say, you got lucky because I didn't come out. And they all laugh, so it's good. But anyway, I stayed because of those reasons. And my graduation day here was on the lawn, and I had all these pictures and things I had to do, and it was a rainy day on the lawn. It wasn't a good weather day, but it was fun as all get out. So when y'all go there tomorrow, it might be a little hot, as the president said, right? So our class, we had bathing suits on, champagne bottles under our robes, stuff like that. I'm the tallest person out there, so I couldn't do anything like that, but I had some people around me that could. But we had a lot of fun. So have a lot of fun and be safe coming tomorrow. Senior year was really good, so I enjoyed it. I'm gonna leave you with this because I speak to kids a lot, and I look back at my time here, high school, mom and dad, sisters, and what kind of made me be motivated to be good at basketball, but want to be academically educated, but also how they'll work. You young kids at graduating class of 2022, I created this word which is called MAP, motivation, attitude and plan. What is your MAP? You went to high school, you had great grades, you came to UVA, you have great grades, you get here, you stand up here and you do all these things. Now what's next? What motivates you? So what's motivated me was Howard Cosell, was my family, was my teammates. University of Virginia motivated me as well in certain ways. So I go way back, and I have some definition of that, but I'm gonna go off the cuff like I normally do. Because motivation, I'm self-motivated to be good. She'll know I get up and I'm cleaning kitchen. I want to be the perfect person I can be that day. I want to have everything in order. I want to have everything that I can in my world in order so I can be the best I can that day. So I'm self-motivated. So when you guys get out there, ain't no class at 8:30 gonna wake you up and say, come to class. Somebody's gonna say, be at work at 9 o'clock. You're gonna be at work at 9 o'clock. Or you're gonna stay extra, stay late. You guys live in a different world too, though. I'm saying, all the electronic stuff you guys have, I would not know how to do it, but it's all good. But I'm going to be self-motivated. So I'll leave you with that word, MAP. M stands for being motivated or self-motivated. 4 years ago, though, all you were freshmen. And one of those banners up there had the national championship on it. So that was pretty cool, wasn't it? I know some people here, that was pretty, somebody said, well, we went to the national championship game. I was there as well. President Ryan was there. It was pretty fun to do that, right? I think we need another one. I think we need another one pretty soon, so it's good. And I think we'll get one soon. It works. So being self-motivated to get a good education, do well at work, do well with your career and success, no matter what you do. It makes sense, right? The next letter in MAP is A, attitude. Attitude for me is that, you can have a bad attitude, you can have a good attitude, but depending on how your attitude is will create your altitude and your success and how far you go. So, we all have down days, we all have bad days, but we all have a lot of good days. But how you shape your attitude will make sure you have success and how far you go in life. So I use that word MAP, M, and then P obviously is for plan. Your parents had a plan when they gave you life. They wanted children. They took you to dance recitals, classes, basketball practices, baseball practices when you're younger, and help you get to college and help you get here today. It could be uncles, aunts, grandparents, no matter who it is, they help you get here today. So your plan is what now? Because when you go off to work, mom and dad ain't gonna be there. They'll be there, but they ain't gonna be there every day to say, get up. They still continue to push you. Always come home and have that chicken dinner at home. That'll be good on Sundays. But what is your plan at that level? Now, I'll tell you a couple of key points. Everywhere in this country, I'm sure there is a UVA alumni chapter, right? And one of the biggest things I know about after I left school was as you leave every year, you get disconnected to your connection to the school, right? And as you continue to grow and get married, your husband or wife may have gone to one of them other schools that can't compete with UVA. So you have to understand that. You will have battles in your home about UVA is better than the school. It's all good. But you always want to stay connected to the connection. If you disconnect your cell phone and you don't charge it, what happens? It's going to die out. So I tell everyone that I talk to, you want to stay connected to your network. And I got disconnected over the years because of basketball 10 years in the NBA and didn't think I would ever come back to Charlottesville. I knew I'd come back to school and visit, come to games, and now I live here. So I want to make sure I stay connected to the school in a way where I can give back as much as I can, not only to the school, but the city of Charlottesville, as you mentioned earlier. So when you leave here, don't disconnect, find an alumni chapter, and stay connected to that, because this is where your opportunities come into play. And speak in the words like, I want to be this, I want to do that, what's my plan, so you can go out and get anything done you want to get done. If you don't do that, that's your fault. But I'm telling you right now, your coaches, your teammates is very special. And I'll get in my teammates. I had great teammates. I had the likes of some guys that's up on that rafter, Jeff Lampley, Raker, Terry Gates, Odell Wilson, Ricky Stokes, Jim Miller that lived here as well. And our relationship today is just as strong as it was when we played. When I opened a restaurant, I had a guy come up named Lewis Collins. Lewis Collins, a minister down in Richmond, Virginia, and he was a fifth-year senior, and we put him on the basketball team. And the special part about him was that he was tough. And Coach Allen made him live with me because I was a second year and I was getting all this attention. I didn't know it at that point in time, but he wanted somebody to be around me that would protect me. And Lewis Collins was one of those protectors. And he would kind of beat anybody up that came around, which was fine. But that relationship has stayed there since I left school. And that type of relationship is a camaraderie that you should have with your team, with your teammates if you're on a team, your classmates. You will disconnect at some point in time, obviously, but stay connected to that network because it will come back around at some point. So I have those relationships not only with my teammates on the court, but Lewis was a football player, become a basketball player, and I have a relationship with all the other sports that I was around. Now, the evolution of UVA, right, and this beautiful building that we live in, which is the best basketball arena on any college campus that I've seen, right? I mean, we would say that. I'm sure that other people would disagree with that, but I don't. University Hall was over there, which we imploded a number of years ago, which where I played. Everybody says Ralph House. You'll see a picture of it in the restaurant. It says Ralph's House. Very special building, obviously, for all of us to play there. But every sport played in that building. You have to understand that, right? All the baseball fields and stuff up there now that we raise a lot of money for to support you student athletes now and the school, none of that was up there. It was a cross-country field that we had to run every morning 3 miles, which I hated. I came in last every day. The story is I was going out, my teammates were coming back. I'm like, Coach Allen, I hate a mile, but I can beat them up and down the court. So none of that was there, but we had camaraderie with every sport in University Hall. Now our weight room was no bigger than this section, half of this section right there in University Hall. Now every team and sport have their own weight room because that's the evolution of the game that we love, basketball, baseball, football, whatever it may be, sports at the university. But the camaraderie is still here. With Coach Bennett is still here, and now the new football coach, Tony Elliott, I met him early on, brought him to the restaurant. First thing he does is invites me to a football practice, which I've never been to a football practice after I got out of UVA. But he come to, I go and it's like, how do you guys concentrate? Music's playing and the boombox is on. He said, this is what we do, but I see it and I think it's gonna be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to football season this year and recruiting of those as well and make something happen here special because I would like to win a national title in football. Well, it's here, I'm sure you would too. So it's good. But other than that, just stay focused on the map. I'll come back to that. My mother is 83, my father is 86. And during the runs of the Final Four, my father had acquired prostate cancer and lung cancer, right? It took me, I moved back home. I sold everything I had, my house, cars. Now, you know, after living in Houston and having a house, car, moving back to your parents ain't fun. There's no room in the inn, right? With being 7 foot tall, but I did end up getting another house, but my dad had all these ailments. And we took him to, he had a hernia. And my sisters called me and said, we're going to rush him to the hospital. I lived in Atlanta. I drove 8 hours straight at midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, take your tail to the hospital. When I get there, you better be there. He was there, got the hernia fixed. A couple weeks later, he passed out when I brought him home in my arms. Took him back to the hospital. We didn't know if he had a heart attack, seizure, or stroke. He had 2 hernias. We only got one fixed the first time. Ended up in Harrisonburg now. I'm not negative on any hospital. I'm definitely positive on one hospital, which we know is here. Harrisonburg Rockingham Memorial said that he had, and nurse told us she understand, had something wrong with his lung and maybe cancer. We need to do something right away. I said, okay, I'm not too skeptical about doing something right away. So I called doctors over here. I called Ethan, the trainer that's still here. That's somebody I know. I said, Ethan, I need some help. He said, bring him on over. He brought him over, and all the doctors here were great. We had him checked out, and he put a tube down his throat, whatever, and this, that, and the other, and told my father when we did that you might not be the same. My father sings in church. Might not be able to sing or do anything like that. They did a biopsy, came out, did all the test results. He comes out of it. We walk out the nurse's station, he's singing the Lord's Prayer. So that, I knew at that point in time he was gonna be all right? But I had to deal with him every day to get that done. It took me about 8 years. But after that, we got that fixed, we got the prostate fixed, the other hernia fixed. It took me a couple years to do that. He's 86, he's on no medication whatsoever, and this hospital is one of the best in the country, so I want to say that as well. We got this as well there. So, and again, that's another reason why you don't disconnect from your network, because you're going to need something from somebody someday. And this school is one of the best in the country. The hospital is rated #1 in the state of Virginia. I'm thinking #1 on the East Coast as well. I've seen nothing like it, and it's growing every day. And now all the other medical stuff with the orthopedic center, all that kind of stuff is really crazy, so I'm excited about what's happening here. But anyway, come to the restaurant, hang out with me. You know, we're going there right after this, but enjoy, stay safe, enjoy your weekend. It's nothing like it, you know. Leave your footprint here. I wear a size 17, so when I leave my footprint, I'm pretty big. But leave your footprint here at UVA and stay connected to the school, because, you know, there's no other place like it in the world. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm significantly shorter than Ralph, so let's fix that. I think I'm 2.5 feet shorter than you, so. Good afternoon, class of 2022, loved ones, my parents sitting down here in the front row. I'm grateful and honored to be addressing all of you today as we approach graduation tomorrow and Sunday. I would like to recognize that we are on Monacan Indian Nation land, and I would like to give a nod to my tribe, the Pee Indian Tribe of South Carolina, for all of the kindness and support they showed me when I was just a little kid. I would also like to thank all of the staff who cleaned JPJ and got it looking spick and span for us today. Thank you to the RMC staff for helping everybody get to where they need to be safely. Thank you to everyone on stage who helped make this happen, especially Mary Elizabeth Luzar, our beloved Trustees Alumni Hall Advisor, our Trustees Graduation Committee, and our Graduation Chair Chesley, our favorite Vice President, Emma Keller, and most of all, thank you class of 2022 and loved ones for being here today. When I first toured UVA, it was pretty informal. I asked a friend from the class above me who was a first year at UVA to show me around as I was about to apply. He showed me the amphitheater, Newcomb, and old dorms. But what I remembered the most were the columns lining the lawn. I leaned up against one of them and posed for a photo that I took again a few weeks ago for my graduation pictures. Something about the columns seemed so UVA defining to me, and they're what I pictured when I started my college essays. I thought of the perfect half circle at the top of the rotunda, and I wondered what it would be like to sit on the lawn to do homework. Little did I know that when you sit on the lawn to do homework, it actually is in the hopes that a dog wanders over, or your friends see you when they're leaving class and they choose to come over and chat. Everyone likely remembers the commotion on move-in day back in 2018. Seeing Charlottesville's tall pine trees lining the highway as you weaved your way onto grounds, seeing new faces, meeting your RA, and trying to carry your bags up flights of stairs in the sticky heat. It was exciting and new and daunting. I remember when I was unpacking, I set my phone down on the back of the car to try and better reach something, and when I pulled the bag out, I knocked my phone onto the concrete outside of Wheaton, and my screen completely smashed. And I started bawling, like tears and tears. And although I was upset because my screen was now smashed, I think it was the buildup of knowing that my parents were about to leave me in that dorm room, and I was about to be on my own. I tried to suck it up and continue carrying my things up to my dorm room, passing my hallmates with an embarrassed look on my face. No one really pointed it out, though, and I was grateful for that. There was a sense of connection and that we all were a little nervous that we were about to be on our own for the first time ever. Thankfully, though, when my RA Selena walked us over to Runk for dinner, there was someone else walking with me right in step. This was a surprise to me because I often get jokes thrown at me for my fast walking that I get from my mom. But there Carolyn was, walking side by side, and Carolyn was still by my side a few weeks ago when we took our graduation pictures together, and she's in the audience now. And then, on my very first day of class, I sat next to a ginger-haired girl, Kira, and Kira and I finished our last politics class together this semester, sitting side by side as we did first year. Carolyn and Kira, two of my best friends, defined my experience at UVA, and I wouldn't be the same without them. But I know that you have one or two or a dozen people who defined your experience, who made you feel seen and understood and loved and valued. In fact, you're probably sitting next to someone right now who means a whole awful lot to you. And I think that part of the experience of graduating is the love that you feel for those who have helped you, supported you, and who are sitting beside you right now. So, because it isn't done enough, I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, "Thanks for being here with me." I hope that you do that again later today and tomorrow and periodically throughout this weekend and the rest of your life. Because one of the most important things that I learned at UVA wasn't anything that a professor told me. It was something the friends and people I met showed me, and that is that nothing means anything without connection, understanding, and community. We all are about to embark on very different paths. These last 4 years, we've been able to learn together, gracefully make mistakes, and lean on one another. I promise you our community will not end after Sunday, it will just drastically expand. Getting nervous up here. I promise you our community will not end after Sunday, it will drastically expand. We have class of 2022 who's headed to New York, San Francisco, New Orleans, Washington, D.C., and even out of the country. How we support one another may change, but it will be support and community nonetheless. And I am very excited to run into who's everywhere I go. We had an interesting journey here, to say the least, as we entered winning the national championships in basketball and in lacrosse in 2019, and then having a pandemic take us out of our spring semester second year. We spent 3 semesters online and came back this past fall hoping to make our last year our best year, and we did just that. We sang the good old song at football games, cheered the basketball team through some nail-biting games, ran and walked the 4th year 5K, and we had a blast at our last lighting of the lawn. While we had a more unique experience at UVA than most graduates, we made the most of our time here. We gave UVA our all. And now it is the time in which we will have to do something different. I know that each one of you will carry the integrity and caring nature that every who has with you into this next phase of life. We all have made a positive impact here, and now we're ready to do something great elsewhere. Thank you, class of 2022, for a fantastic 4 years. I hope to see you all tonight at the class party, 9 p.m. to midnight, just down the street from here at Alumni Hall. Congratulations, and wahoo wah.